Hello everybody, I'm Max Power, back with another replay of StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm for the Meat Lovers channel. Hell yeah! So, this is going to be one epic match. Now, we have our returning champion, sort of, well, he lost, but he made the Neo Steel frame. He bought the Neo Steel frame upgrade, the cargo space increase for the bunker in our last game, so he's a champion in our hearts. And he is NulleDK, which we know him from the last game, of course. And then we have Rikja, his opponent, both Protoss players, so we have everybody's favorite matchup, Protoss versus Protoss. I think the second most hated matchup in all of StarCraft. I would say CVC is the most hated matchup in this game. And I think TVT is sort of definitely the third most hated, but sort of a real matchup. I hate to be derogatory like that, but realer, let's say that. So let's address the last video. I liked it well enough. I think it was okay, but there was definitely some gamma issues with it, so I hope I fixed it this time, as well as not being able to hear the in-game sounds, which took a little bit of fiddling to fix, but I think I fixed it now, and I've changed the settings. I don't recall if last time you saw all the health bars. You don't now. Now I've changed it to the damage setting. So basically you can see the Nexus energy there, because it's damaged and not full, which is great. Yeah. Reason why I'm just wasting time saying stupid shit nobody cares about is because this is a PvP, and both players are going to get a gateway. You're not going to see any kind of Nexus first, although these players are a little bit crazy, but I've taught Rikja lately the new standard opener, the double gas on 15 with 2 probes in each, so that's what he's going to be doing. Nulle is doing the old school Wings of Liberty style, where you get a single gas and 3 guys in it. Now, the reason why you get more gas nowadays is because there's more stuff to spend gas on. You want that mothership core, and that's 100 gas you didn't normally spend before. So that's something you gotta have. Because as you can see, Nulle's timings aren't perfect. He's not building probes right now, so his timings are certainly not perfect. But he has a lot of gas right now. He has more than sufficient amount of gas to get a Sentry and Warp Gate, or Stalker. We're going to boost out 2 Stalkers, which is the normal start in this matchup nowadays. Rikja is going a little bit more lean. Actually, he's going. Yeah, he's getting a scout doing his scout, which is good. And oddly enough, Nulle is doing the expanding. You don't typically see that in this matchup, but again, these players are not used to it. Yeah, this probe is most likely going to die without seeing the expansion, which is going to be a bit of an issue for Rikja, because currently he's not spending his money on anything. So we're going to see... Oh, he's actually expanding too! Well, that's interesting. I don't remember this all too well. I did see this game originally. He does have a probe too. Nice. And he sees the expansion. So he can be very happy about his choice of expansion at this point. And he's going to be a lot safer. Oh, I thought he was getting the Stalker. He isn't. So he's not safe. I take that back. Both players are heading steadily towards the supply block. That's great. And Nulle really hasn't built a worker in quite a while. Surprisingly, because... There goes the scouting probe. Yeah, and another problem, the pylon here. Now, this is something that Protoss players have to learn, because you require the pylon, the energy field, to actually warp in. So in matchups where you don't wall, Nulle's doing it too, you want to have it behind your mineral line or someplace safe. Getting it in front, like just us getting the gateways in front, is a problem. Generally against Protoss and against Terran players, you want to basically just build everything in the main. But yeah, and Rikja got the mothership core. Very good. They're both getting the mothership core actually, which is it's very late. You want to get that a lot earlier. Not because it's especially useful, but because what you want to do is you want to wait for the energy. You get it you want to wait to get enough energy on the mothership core so you can use photon overcharge just in case someone attacks. Although probably not for a single zealot. The scouting zealot, I suppose. Now, both players are being very, very passive, despite Rikja having pretty nice force of zealots right here. And this is the kind of, just a little bit of micro would be nice, I mean, running a couple of zealots over here to cut off the zealot, just to take it out, because they have the same move speed, obviously, they're the same unit, and none of them have the charge upgrade. So really, Rikja should have been able to destroy the zealot quite easily with the bare minimum of micro, and he does not live up to the bare minimum of micro. Although, I have taught him to move his hotkeys. As you can see, this mothership core is on 0, and he's way overdoing his chasing here. Actually, one smart thing you can do, I don't know that that's every keyboard in the world, but at least on European, Scandinavian keyboards, you have sort of a useless half key next to the 1 key that's not being used for anything, so you can use that as to re-hotkey 0, so it's a little bit closer, and it's a good place for the mothership core, I feel. So that's something I do, and I've taught Rikja to do so as well, and also hotkey on 4. Which leaves you enough room for your army hotkeys on 1, 2, and 3 to have something for the High Templar and something for the Stalkers and something for your main army, which you want. So I think that's a good way of doing it. Now, here's one problem that a lot of players are going to run into in the lower leagues, and that is not being very aggressive with scouting. Now, especially for Protoss players, scouting has gotten a lot easier using your mothership core or getting a sentry and hallucinating a phoenix. You can now hallucinate phoenixes without getting an upgrade, which means all you have to do is get the sentry. Which is a great way to go over there, either scare your opponent into thinking you have phoenixes, which he probably isn't going to do if he's halfway decent, but still, it's okay, it's a bonus. And you can figure out if your opponent has an expansion. Because in this position, Rikja is a little bit in trouble if Nulle gets this expansion. Now, Null is moving out slightly, but neither of these players have any kind of vision. Now, we're on Neoplanet S. I hope I remember to say that. It's one of my favorite maps. I really like it. But it's also a map that's really kind of difficult to play, because what you really have to do is you have to manage both of these, if you look down on the minimap, both of these attack paths. So if you have a slow army, or really any army, and you're moving out, you need an observer on the opposite lane to figure out if, what does your opponent have if he's attacking the other way? Is it preferable for you to go for, go for the base race? Which it can be, depending on what kind of unit you have. I would say someone like, if you have Immortals, base races are pretty good. They do a lot of damage to buildings because all buildings are armored. So that's a pretty solid way of doing things. Now, Rikja is going for the very late Stargate tech, as well as a lot of zealots. So basically, he's banking a lot of his gas and getting some kind of Stargate unit. Now, normally in this matchup, the metagame, I should say, has shifted mostly towards Void Rays, because they are very, very good. And the anti-air choices, on the ground at least, are for Protoss are Archons, Sentries, and Stalkers. Stalkers being the predominant way of dealing with anti-air via ground units. Which means that if you have Stalkers, your Stalkers aren't really great against Void Rays. They're actually really bad because they're armored, and Void Rays just chew through armored units so quickly with the new Void Rays doing HOTS. The old used to do it, but since they had to charge up, they often lost to Stalkers. The new ones don't, and they hit a lot faster, so they just decimate everything. In this case, Rikja is going for the Tempest. Now, one of the issues with Rikja's play normally is that he tends to think there's a win unit. A unit that wins the game, and you get those and then you win. No, that is not right. See, Tempest are, as people have figured out, not really the kind of unit you want to mass in a 1v1. You know, in a team game, it makes sense. You can go in, you can poke at the enemy, you can sort of poke at the enemy's army from a distance. In a 1v1, it leaves you with a giant army that doesn't do a lot of damage and is incredibly slow. And the Scylla's don't really help that so much. They're not especially quick, even though with their charge upgrade they're faster. It still doesn't really help you a lot, because they're not especially versatile, and while I like Scylla's, they're a great unit, they're not especially useful against an opponent. Well, you know, in this matchup generally, they're not all that great. Especially because of Colossus, but then again, if you have Colossus, then the Tempest are pretty good. So, settling for a number of about 4 Tempests. I don't know exactly how the math adds up for killing a Colossus, but the massive shot is at 85 with a +1 attack. That's a lot of damage. I think it's +5 for every attack upgrade on the massive units. So the Tempest hits with its air attack against the Colossus, so it's very effective there. So Tempest on Tempest favors the Tempest, and Tempest against Carrier and Colossus favors the Tempest. Since the Tempest does not... I mean, you'd think it's good against the Archons, because it's also a massive unit, but it's on the ground, and you can't use its air attack on that. So that counts for Thor's as well. The Colossus is a little bit of a special unit, in case you don't know. So the problem here is that what Rikja has currently is a big army that's not very useful, because it's mostly Tempest against an army that really Tempest don't do a lot of damage against. Now, that said, there are 4 Stalkers. So there's no way Nulle can actually win this fight. Now, he is getting Phoenixes. I believe he did send an observer in, and he did see the primarily Tempest army and the Zealots, and he's getting Phoenixes. I originally, when I saw this game, I thought that was a big mistake. Turns out it's really not too bad. Phoenixes don't do a lot of damage, but they're very quick. And they can chase after the Tempest and hit the weak ones and destroy them. So, and the Tempest actually don't kill them very quickly. The 33 damage is not quite sufficient to actually kill these very quickly. So that's 2 hits, and that's 4. So that's 6 hits to kill a Phoenix. And the Phoenixes are so quick they can just fly away when their shields are out. So a little bit of micro can actually do a lot against the Tempest. And then the Tempest has to hit one at a time, and that's just a big clusterfuck, and then you can just move in the Stalkers, and yeah, it doesn't really work out that well. So, Nulle is actually doing some very clever things. He's positioning a Zealot here to make sure that his opponent is out taking this expansion, although he's not keeping track of this one, which is a bit of a fail, but at the same time he's seeing an opponent with a big army, but a slow army. Now, he can't fight it with his army currently. I don't see there's any way he could fight it. One picked up Stalker. So he's basically just expanding everywhere. Because what are the Tempest going to do? The Tempest very slowly move up here, and then the entire base is open, and this base is certainly dead. Now, right now that base is kind of dead because these Tempest are very, very, very off position currently. Their move speed is 188, which is terrible. And while they are getting their +3 upgrade to +3 air attacks, they still shoot slowly. So they're going to be about, I think, yeah, it's +3, so it's 39 damage regular attack and 95 damage against massive. So any massive unit is going to get completely destroyed, but his opponent doesn't have any. And Rikja doesn't know. So right now, Rikja is up against an opponent who has significantly more workers than him, significantly more bases than him, and therefore significantly more gas. So technically, what Nulle could do at this moment is produce a lot of Void Rays. Void Rays are going to be very effective. They're going to destroy pretty much everything Rikja has and can build, and he can't really do anything about it. Now, remember when I told you need to have an observer down here? If you're going up here? Or, vice versa. See, this is the reason why. Now, Rikja is moving up here, leaving the space completely exposed. and he's against an opponent who has a couple of immortals, 4 immortals, and the immortal is a lot like against armored are about as deadly as a Tempest is against a flying massive unit. 60 damage with, I don't remember quite what was a level 2 upgrade, so you get up to 65 damage. That's huge. See, Phoenix is pretty effective actually. Not too bad, even though they don't do any extra damage. Now, you need more Void Rays than that. But as you can see right here, the Zealots aren't getting in, they're not being very effective, and Rikja still, to my knowledge, doesn't know anything about anything, really. Look, he only knows about these 2 bases, you think that's all there is, and now he is getting decimated. And this base right here is pretty close to mined out, and it's not very essential. There isn't anything here other than the probes that you really want to protect. So he's kind of in trouble. As you can see right here, he's also... Rikja is losing a lot of probes, and he can't afford it. Nulle can, as you can see. So somehow Nulle is managing to... He cannot fight this army. There's no way. Look, he has no chance of defeating this army in a straight-up engagement, but he's winning anyway. So you don't need the most powerful army. You don't need the quote-unquote win unit. Also, well, maybe if you had Void Rays it would be better, but still, you don't need the win unit, because the win unit isn't going to help you. Being smart is. See, Rikja is kind of done right now. Like, what is he going to do? He lost his expansion down here. He's lost most of his main. Because the Tempest is too slow. Even with +3 attack, they don't kill anything. He even lost one of them. So this puny army, this army shouldn't be able to do anything. It's primarily Zealots and Immortals and some Phoenixes. This is not scary. So, Rikja's in this position where he has nothing. I do believe, let's see, units. He does have a probe. I won't jump to as much here. And, well, he cleaned up the attack, but he's way behind on supply. He has no tech at all. He barely saved the Twilight Council in the Fleet Beacon. And now what is he gonna do? Again, he has the most powerful army, but for how long is he gonna have the most powerful army? Not very, I believe. Against 3 Stargates, and he has 0. Although he does have a lot of money banked, right? This is an okay expansion, right? You gotta take this probe, take a ton of expansion. This is actually what I told him at this point. You have a ton of money, but you need the expansions to be able to elevate your probe count. Your probe count is 1, so you really need to build a lot of them. And you need to rebuild your tech, so you have to build like crazy, and not leave your Tempest behind. And you need to split up your units, and see if you can take out a couple of his expansions. And the problem here is that he's not really deciding where to go, because he doesn't know where to go. He knows about this. Nothing else. Now, and right now he's starting to get a little bit screwed, because this doesn't look like much. And it isn't much. But Tempest are really bad. So they're probably going to lose to that. Because they're not the win unit. Also, without any, defensive upgrades, it's going to be a problem, but, explosions. Now, here's an issue. He didn't actually attack an expansion like that one or that one. He just sent him up here to die and not micro or anything. It doesn't mean he's going to take out this expansion. But once again, he does not know that these are here. So he's screwed anyway, and also he's leaving the expansion for whatever reason. Look, the Tempests are so shitty, they can't even actually do anything to this. Like, a mass of Tempests that aren't... Dude. Well, I mean, first of all, don't let yourself get hit by the Stalkers in the ground. There's no reason to. You can't avoid the Phoenixes, but you can avoid the Stalkers. you should probably do that. Because they do actually do additional damage to this Tempest. Once again, Talker's pretty good. Win units, not so win. See, Rikja is finally actually spending some of his money, but it's too late, because now he has no army. Because he refused to move it in any kind of a way, and he went for a base race he could never win. And he decided not to rebuild because he was too busy microing his Tempest. Now, I don't want to rewind this replay, right? But you remember what he did with them, right? Nothing. He did nothing with them. He did nothing at all. Had he done this immediately, right? Gotten all these expansions up, quickly built a lot of probes like he's doing right now, he would be at more than 2. Problem. I hope he would be. So now he's basically losing, once again, to an opponent who has, like, that's the thing about Nulle, he has the wrong units. Phoenix has the wrong units. GG's. Phoenix has the wrong units, and I think his gateway count is very, very low. What's the structures tab? I can remember. T. Gateway count 10. 10 is not a lot, especially on all these bases. So yeah, this is actually Nulle knew a little bit about what he was doing. I mean, the thing is, his attack down here might as well run, headlong straight into the army of Rikja, and he would have lost the entire thing and done no damage. But that's not how it worked out. So really, here's the thing. If you have a big, slow, technically powerful army, what you want to do is you want to have a lot of vision. Because you want to know where to move it. Because if you are out of position, you're probably going to lose a base. Even to a shitty army, you could easily beat. Because if they get close enough, they can just power through that base, especially Immortals are going to do it. They're just going to chew through buildings. And you're going to be done. So, yeah. Remember, decision-making. Decision-making and micro is really, really important. Now let's, I think we can rewind for just a quick second here. Back to 12 minutes, maybe? I don't remember when he started making the Tempest. It was a little bit later than that, so I think we're going to go for 14? That's about as far as I can jump here. Let's see. Starts building the Tempest, and let's see here. So we have this probe, this observer. So he has pretty good vision. He sees no expansion, so he knows his opponent is on 2 bases. He's very good about getting vision around here, unless he took ninja right down there in the bottom. So he's moving in, right? He sees a Tempest. He sees Tempest. He sees upgrades going. He sees a guy going totally on 2 bases with mostly Tempest. And he expands up here as well. It's a really brilliant move. And I really think this is a great game to look at, even for lower level players, because if you look at the APM here, let's go to the end of the game, just to be sure that we've got the entire game APM here. 47 APM on Nulle's side. It doesn't take a lot of APM. What it takes is being aware. Because being aware of the map and using it to your advantage, like Nulle did, whether it was conscious or not, was incredibly effective for him. And he won a game there was no way he should ever have won. Because all Rikja had to do was nothing. He didn't have to move out. He could just take his zealots. He had tons of money. Send them to die up here, destroy this base. Keep the Tempest here. Use the high ground here to his advantage. And, well, just banked up a lot of money, built up a lot of gateways, and I don't think Nulle could have broken that. As long as Rikja was very diligent about getting out there and destroying as many bases as possible. So I think this is a fun little learning game. And it's something that also built a Void Race, not Phoenix's, against Tempest. Although Phoenix is not too bad, but generally, just do that. Or, Yeah, well, Archons can be okay, but their range is so shitty, so... Yeah. I don't know, Phoenixes are okay. They're a decent choice. I prefer Void Rays, but they turn out to be pretty effective, and you can build them quickly, which is nice. So if you scout the Tempest pretty slowly, you can build a lot of Phoenixes quickly. And generally, Stargate, guys. It's the new hotness. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Bye. I've been Max Power. Meat Lovers channel. Hit the like button or something. We all like that. Have a good one.